What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here. Welcome to our daily show where we discuss everything going on here in our country, daily news, money, investing, the stock market, everything going on here in our country and Washington, D.C., and the fourth stimulus package update, stimulus check update, and everything going on here. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, make sure to click the subscribe button right now. It's completely free to do so you don't miss out on new videos that come out here every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Remember those times so you don't miss out on any new videos. Also, thank you so much for hitting the like button for us down below. Let's jump right in because we got a lot to talk about. Congress is trying to prevent a government shutdown that is going to happen here in a little bit over a week. And they just introduced a short-term government funding bill, if passed, would only fund the government for about a month. That's right, check this out. House Appropriations Committee Chair Rosa DeLauro on Monday introduced a short-term bill that would allow the government to remain funded through early March and temporarily stave off a government shutdown, saying, quote, "Our country needs a government funding agreement to create good-paying jobs, grow opportunity for the middle class, and protect our national security. We are close to reaching a framework government funding agreement, but we still need additional time to complete the legislation in full. The continuing resolution, the product of a bipartisan bicameral negotiation, extends funding through only March 11th to keep the government up and running while Congress completes our important work." If they can get an agreement done and negotiate with Republicans and Democrats, they have to do this in a little bit over a week to prevent a government shutdown from happening. Here is House Majority Leader Steny Hoyer. He's the leader of the House for the Democrats. He's not the House Speaker, but he's the House Majority Leader on this and on the Build Back Better stimulus package.
Joining me now, House Majority Leader Congressman Steny Hoyer of Maryland. Leader Hoyer, thank you very much for coming back to the Sunday Show.
Thank you very much, Jonathan. It's always good to be with you.
So, Leader Hoyer, what's the latest on negotiations over the funding bill? You got 12 days.
Well, we're going to get something done. It'll probably be a short-term CR, and it will be this coming week to give us a little more time. Negotiations are very vigorous, and I think that we're going to get agreement both on the top line of how much spending is going to be and how it will be spent. But it's not there yet, so I expect to do a continuing resolution to continue the authorization for government to operate and be funded this coming week, and hopefully the Senate will do the same.
Well, Leader Hoyer, here's what I'm wondering. We've seen continuing resolutions for more than a year now, which means that the budget adopted when Donald Trump was president is still operational. When will President Biden get to sign his own budget?
Well, hopefully very soon. An omnibus is absolutely essential. And very frankly, Jonathan, as you know, I'm a great critic of the Congress not getting its work done on time. We should have passed all 12 appropriation bills to fund government for this coming fiscal year that we're now in, fiscal year 22. We should have passed that by September 30th. We didn't. As a result, we needed a CR. We did another one, and we're now doing an additional one because we haven't gotten our work done on time. And the problem is it's very difficult to get agreement. We passed bills in the House. We could pass an omnibus in the House. But, of course, the Senate is 50-50, and you need Republicans and Democrats to cooperate. And they're having trouble getting there, but hopefully we'll get there soon.
Let's switch gears and talk about Build Back Better. That occupied a lot of attention here in Washington at the end of last year. The prospects of renewed negotiations over Build Back Better, whatever Build Back Better might look like in the new incarnation.
Well, I think Build Back Better will be something different than we passed the House, but I think a lot of what the House passed and sent to the Senate will be included in Build Back Better. And I'm still one who believes, as the president does, that we're going to pass Build Back Better. It will be, as every piece of legislation goes between the Senate and the House, changed somewhat by the other House, and we'll have to reach agreement. But I am very confident that some of the very important elements that every senator on the Democratic side has said they support will be included in that bill. So we're working very hard to get Build Back Better done, because that will be an additional step in building our economy, building opportunity for people, protecting their health, providing for the education of our children, providing for accessible childcare and accessible and affordable health care. So those are items on which I think we have agreement within the Democratic Party unanimously. Mm-hmm. And so I'm very hopeful that that will pass soon, and it will continue to give confidence, which we saw in those 460,000 plus jobs that were created last month, and the 6.6 million jobs that have been created in the last 12 months under the Biden administration. We will see that confidence added to, giving people the opportunity to go back to work. We need people coming back to work. We've got a lot of people doing that. But we need to continue this effort. And I would hope that Republicans would join us in this effort, seeing how successful the rescue plan was, the infrastructure plan has been in getting people back to work, creating economic energy and growth.
Leader Hoyer, Democrats and the White House had a really good week last week. We've talked about the jobs numbers. You guys passed the Competes Act, which seems to have lots of bipartisan agreement. And yet, in the latest NBC poll, there's an enthusiasm gap. And I talked about this with Assistant Speaker Clark in the last hour, where 61% of Republicans are very interested in the midterm elections, but 47% of Democrats are interested in the midterm elections. How are you meaning Democrats, going to shrink that enthusiasm gap?
By doing what we're doing. It's an extraordinary Congress in what it has already done in the first 12 months or 13 months of this Congress. Just extraordinary legislation. I mentioned the American Rescue Plan. I mentioned the infrastructure bill. I mentioned Build Back Better, and now the Competes Act. All have passed the House. Now, two of those have not yet passed the Senate. But if we pass those bills, I think Democrats are going to be wildly enthusiastic, because we carried out what we said we would do for the people, not the richest people, not the most well-off, not the least vulnerable people, but the people who really need our help. And in helping them, we're going to help the entire American economy and psyche. And in that context, I think our Democrats are going to get very, very excited in this next election. And of course, you deal in a world of alternatives. Right now, they're looking at the Biden administration and looking at the Democratic Congress. And I think our Democrats think we're doing good things. That's what I hear. But I also think their enthusiasm is going to be engendered greatly when they look at the alternatives.
Real quickly, Steny Hoyer, I'm already out of time, but I have to ask you this, in that the RNC passed a resolution that said that the January 6th insurrectionists were engaged in, quote, legitimate political discourse. 30 seconds, your response to that.
Absurd, inexplicable that a responsible group of Americans, and perhaps they are not, would look at what happened on January 6th, which was insurrection, treason, the putting at risk and killing police officers, that was somehow legitimate political discourse. Absurd. And a party that has fallen that far does not deserve the support and respect of the American people.
House Majority Leader Steny Hoyer, thank you very, very much for coming back to the Sunday Show.
Wow, a lot going on there. What do you think about the Republican National Committee ruling there? Do you think that the January 6th was legitimate? Interesting thought there. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. But House Majority Leader Steny Hoyer reiterates that they are going to pass Build Back Better, but it's not going to probably be Build Back Better. It's probably going to get a new name. It's going to be a new package, and they're going to rebrand it, and it's probably going to have some new items in there. So, but he says that they're going to pass it. Joe Manchin, in his recent interview that I had on the show here earlier today, I'll link you to that video here at the end of this video. If you didn't get to see it, he had a lot to say here as well. Remember, he's basically the only one, with maybe Senator Kirsten Sinema, that delayed that bill from passing. He basically said that he knows there's going to be a new bill and he just needs to see some changes. He needs to see it go through a different process as well. So Joe Manchin seems to be on board as well here with this new package, which is pretty good news as well. So we'll see how this ends up. But Steny Hoyer, House Majority Leader, says he thinks this new bill is going to pass, or the Build Back Better 2.0 bill. You could let me know your thoughts. But so they have the fund the government shutdown here in the next week, 10 days or so, or else to prevent the government shutdown. They have to do that with Republicans. The Build Back Better bill, or Build Back Better 2.0, whatever it ends up being called, the Democrats can pass that on their own with no Republicans. Now, if they end up breaking parts of it into separate bills, like the child tax credits, just as an example here, remember the child tax credits, those monthly payments that go out to 60 million children, those have expired. So the children didn't get, or the families didn't get their payments in January, on January 15th. The way it's looking, they're not going to get their payments on February 15th because that's only a week away. I don't even know if there's time, if they passed it tomorrow, if they would go out on February 15th. The White House has previously said if they pass it in time that they could do a double payment for February. But I don't know if I don't think it's going to happen by tomorrow. But we'll have to see how quickly they can do this here. But if and when they do it, there's a couple different paths. They could just pass it on their own through the Democratic Party, through this Build Back Better 2.0 bill. They've also talked about potentially separating some things like the child tax credits, because there is several different Republicans that are in support of that. So if, for example, Joe Manchin just on that particular issue becomes too difficult to work with, they can then separate that one particular item or several particular items and work with Republicans and get their support. Okay, because there are, as I've shown you guys here on the screen, and I've shown you guys, there's actually two Republicans with their own child tax credit bills. Mitt Romney, Republican Senator Mitt Romney, and Republican Senator Josh Hawley. Their two bills actually pay more money to the children in some cases, but they have restrictions, that work requirements or income thresholds. So there would be some negotiations there, and it would probably mean less people would actually get the payments. So there would be some negotiation that would have to happen there to get those done if they go a standalone bill route where they negotiate with the Republicans and the Democrats. Remember that stimulus check one, stimulus check two, and stimulus package one, stimulus package two, that those were done with the Republicans and Democrats together on a bipartisan basis where they negotiated. Stimulus package three and stimulus check three, that was passed completely by the Democrats with the reconciliation process, without any Republican support. So it could go either way here for this next package. The Democrats could pass it on their own, or they could go with Republican support. So I know Republicans have been pretty standoffish right now because Democrats passed the last package completely on their own, and they're trying to pass Build Back Better on their own. But there is support for several different items, like the child tax credits, that they could negotiate with Republicans if they choose to go that route. It seems like the Democrats are just trying to pass everything on their own. But if they actually made a legitimate push to go with Republicans on certain items, they could probably get it done. There is support from Republicans to do that, but they'd have to actually go to Republicans and actually try to do that. We haven't actually seen that the Democrats do that. Okay. The other thing here is that they have the $800 billion of stimulus money that has already been passed. It's already been passed. And I don't think they would use that for the child tax credits or anything like that. They could definitely use that for a stimulus check. Okay. Remember, this is money from stimulus package one, stimulus package two, and stimulus package three, all combined, all had money left over. Okay. So you could just, for round numbers here, say there was like 250 billion left over. That would be 750 billion. We'll round up to 800 billion. Okay, that was left over from each package. Okay, we're just rounding here. Okay, there's $800 billion of money left over from the three stimulus packages. Combine it all up and put it in a pot. And there's $800 billion of money that was just released from a report of stimulus money that's already approved by Congress. Okay. So, what are they going to do with this money? They can send this money out as a stimulus check. They could send this money out as a stimulus package. They could send this money out as rent assistance, mortgage assistance, utility assistance. They use this money for the people. Okay. But it's just literally just sitting there, already approved, already accounted for. Okay. So, wouldn't add to the national deficit. It's already accounted for. It's already in there per se, and it wouldn't add to inflation because it's already accounted for that per se. So all they really need to do is just send it out because Congress has already approved it. They really just need to say who they're going to send it out to. That's right. Okay, so this is really, the president could just reallocate this through executive order, just like former President Donald Trump did when he reallocated the executive order with the unemployment stimulus checks. This is all the way back to the end of 2020, right before the election, when he reallocated, did a presidential executive order and sent out millions of extra stimulus checks or bonus unemployment checks, whatever you want to call them. He reallocated this money, millions and millions of checks, to millions and millions of people with these extra unemployment bonus stimulus checks. It was $1,800 worth. Okay. The same thing President Biden could do. He could reallocate the stimulus money that's already been approved by Congress. Okay. And it's already stimulus money. Okay. The question is, what are they going to do with this money? It's $800 billion. It's almost $1 trillion. And for example, the $1,400 stimulus checks that were sent out from the third stimulus check only cost $400 billion. $400 billion. This is $800 billion. That's how much money is just sitting there already approved. Yeah, it's a lot of money. It's almost $1 trillion. Yeah. Now, Congress is also pushing for more stimulus and the Build Back Better package, just to kind of give you an overview of everything there. And kind of the emergency thing going on right now is the fund the government as well, because they have to do that here in just a little bit over a week, because if they don't do that, then the government shuts down. And if the government shuts down, well, I mean, that's like, you have to do that or else literally millions of people lose their jobs. Everything shuts down except for non-essential services. We're in a pandemic. It's like the worst time for that to happen, right? So they're going to have to come to an agreement. Maybe they'll do this new short-term funding bill, which of course only funds the government for a month. And then they'll have to come to another agreement. I know you can't make this stuff up, right? So yeah, there's going to be a lot of different things here that Congress is working on. Yeah, you could let me know your thoughts here in the comments. But meanwhile, they're getting a lot of pressure to pass the Build Back Better Act, to send out more stimulus and more support to the people. There's so many people out there right now that need this money, need this support. And you could see your local leaders calling the U.S. Senate to pass the Build Back Better Act. And inside that bill is more money for rent assistance, mortgage assistance, reduce the cost of prescription drug pricing, reduce the cost of childcare, which can be over $10,000 per child in most states. It can be 21% of a lot of people's income. Reduce the cost of pre-K, or actually included for free, which would be pre-K costs like $200 a week as well. It's like $8,600 on average per child. Again, who has an extra $8,600 lying around? Not the average person. So again, it's just so many different things in this bill that would reduce the cost for a lot of Americans. And there's a big push to include hearing coverage would be included in there for Medicare. They're trying to include dental and vision in there as well, and reduce the age for Medicare. We have so many different things in this bill that should have been included in there for a long time. And yeah, and then we also have the kind of whole $800 billion, the kind of elephant in the room of, yeah, we have this money too, just kind of sitting there. Yeah, so let me know your thoughts. I will keep you up to date here with everything. Make sure to click the subscribe button down below if you haven't yet. It's completely free to do so. New videos come out here every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe right now. We're at 399,000 almost subscribers. Help us reach 400,000. We're almost there. So you guys are amazing. I do these videos completely for free. I don't ask for you to join the channel and pay money or anything like that. Help us reach 400,000 subscribers. You guys are amazing. So you can click here to watch our newest video next. And this video is the new video that has Joe Manchin's interview. If you haven't seen that, you definitely want to watch that next as well. So click on one of those videos next. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you in the next video.